The Toronto Raptors are shopping multiple major assets heading into this year's NBA draft, according to recent reports. Of course, the team missed out on Kevin Durant as he got traded to the Houston Rockets, but now we know the two major pieces the Raptors are dangling across the NBA leading into draft night and some of the pieces that could be coming back in return. So we're going to break down what these reports are saying, whether or not they make sense for this Toronto Raptors team, and break down the current landscape of this Raptors squad entering the NBA draft. So lots of stuff to break down. We know the Raptors have been targeting a big fish after a lot this offseason, and we're going to cover all the latest updates, even with them missing out on the likes of at least Giannis so far, and certainly Kevin Durant, who's now with the Houston Rockets. But if you don't want to miss a single thing, even on the go, make sure to check out our Spotify. I got the Spotify thing down below. All of our videos are up there on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. We don't want you to miss a single thing that's happening. So even if you can't tune into YouTube, you're out there on the go, make sure you guys check out the Spotify and leave a 5-star review if you are enjoying, the Raptors Digest coverage. But let's dive into it because we have so much stuff to really sink our teeth into, because Brian Windhorst came out today and broke down that the Toronto Raptors have been looking to use the 9th pick to upgrade their roster in the short term. They haven't been able to find a deal for that yet. So this is the first big report that's come out for the Toronto Raptors. We have multiple that we're going to cover out here in this video since they missed out on Kevin Durant. Of course, I didn't really make a full video on it, but Masai Ujiri was pressing hard to make a deal go down. Reports were coming out that the Raptors and the T-Wolves had the best offers, but nonetheless, Kevin Durant ended up getting what he wanted and found his way with the Houston Rockets. So that is what it is. It's all you can do. They didn't accept the offer, and now the Raptors have to look in a different direction in terms of moves that they are making. So the 9th pick is the first asset that Jake Fisher's also brought up a ton, whether it be in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes or not, saying it's the most likely pick to get drafted in the top 10. Of course, one of the picks already got traded for Kevin Durant, but the Raptors are looking to improve this roster here now, and they are scavenging the league in terms of trying to get one of these deals to go down. Well, who on earth could they be going after? What are the reports saying? Who's getting dangled across the NBA? Well, we have some updates on that too. Essentially, Mike Scotto came out and said that the Kings have expressed a desire to acquire a first-round pick in the 2025 NBA draft. League sources have told HoopsHype. Amid those conversations, Sacramento's gauged the trade market on guards like Malik Monk as well as Devin Carter. So we made a whole video on Malik Monk, and while in a vacuum, I'd be very interested in bringing in Malik Monk. I think he's a good basketball player. I think he's a quality, he's an underrated player in the NBA, in my opinion. He's a good facilitator. He shoots the 3 ball at a high volume. He takes a lot of movement threes, and is a player that can fit in pretty well anyway. I mean, we can take a look at his stats before we dive into actual analysis. Malik Monk last season, 17 points per game, 4 rebounds, close to 6 assists per night. Played a lot of the point guard for the Kings last season, which is kind of crazy, especially after Fox got dealt away, but only 33% of the three-point line, did shoot 44 on corner threes. Like, that overall three-point shooting percentage is because Malik Monk takes a lot of those movement three-point shots, takes a lot of those shots off the dribbles, so that's where those percentages end up getting a little bit messy, end up getting a little bit tougher, but he is definitely a great basketball player, do not get me wrong, but he makes no sense on this team. I'm saying this here right now. Like, Malik Monk, of course, as a shooter would be a positive, as a playmaker would be a positive. And we'll have to trade, I imagine, some of these pieces in terms of making a move happen, but we have RJ Barrett, we have Jacoby Walter, we have Gradey Dick that play the exact same position as Malik Monk. You want to play Malik Monk more at the point guard? You have Immanuel Quickley, you have Jamal Shead out there at your 1-2 spots out there in the backcourt. And then in terms of players that have the ball in their hands, that need the ball in their hands to be really effective, you have Brandon Ingram and Scottie Barnes out there in your lineup already. Like Malik Monk, he's not improving the defense. He's not, helping out on that end of the floor. He's not going to be that much of a positive, that much of a plus out there on this team. Now, he would be cool to be inserted, just add it in a vacuum, but he's also like not a insanely cheap contract either. $17 million per year. It is cheaper than RJ Barrett. So that is one thing that we will bring up and we will discuss. But not a guy that's just outstandingly on a complete bargain deal that will get you really excited. Even Ochai Agbaji is the shooting guard, the wing position. He'd be taking minutes away from him there, who's more of a positional fit around this team. So Malik Monk's getting thrown out there, and specifically with the Toronto Raptors. I should have brought this report up before I start going on that rant, but essentially, if a trade with the Phoenix Suns for Kevin Durant doesn't end up happening with the Toronto Raptors specifically, league sources tell Clutch Points that the Raptors have other targets in mind. The Raptors have demonstrated interest in acquiring Kings guard Malik Monk in a potential trade, with that interest dating back to last February's trade deadline. So The Raptors have already been named as a landing spot, as a team that has had interest in Malik Monk in terms of his scoring prowess. And while offensively, he doesn't need the ball in his hands to be effective, he can spot up, shoot through it. Like, he's a good shooter. Do not get me wrong here. Malik Monk shoots 44% on corner threes. He's a good shooter, but he's more of that ball handling, above the break, shot creator, ball in his hands, getting things going for him to be most effective. So that's kind of what the direction is, and what that is there. I've seen a lot of people in our comment section not want Malik Monk. So moving on from that, we do have an update regarding RJ Barrett as well, as essentially Mike Scotto came out and said that Toronto has also continued to gauge the trade market on RJ Barrett. League sources have told Hoopsite. Barrett, who's owed $57 million over the next 2 seasons, averaged a career-high 21 points per game, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game for the Toronto Raptors last year. Also in this report, he discussed how the Toronto Raptors ended up keeping Jakob Poeltl out of trade conversations for Kevin Durant. It was a hard no. Covered this on X, so check us out on X, on Twitter, if you want some of those quick rapid-fire updates, even though we deliver those out there on the channel as well, but check us out there, and Spotify, as I mentioned below. But basically, the Toronto Raptors, even with Kevin Durant off the trade market right now, they are still big fish swinging. They are trying to get one of those big fish. I know I played this animation already, but this is the desire. This is what this team is looking at heading into the NBA draft. And it sucks. It kills me to see, because, again, for a superstar RJ Barrett trade, making that happen, cool. But if it's not for a superstar, if it's not for one of those top dogs out there in the NBA, I'm starting to ride. I've started the movement. I want this team to keep RJ Barrett on the squad, at least for the start of the season. Just see how this roster plays out. Don't make a lateral move for a money decision to save $7 million on Malik Monk. Figure out another way to get under that cap if the Raptors do end up in a position where they're getting close to that luxury tax line. They shouldn't be in the luxury tax line. They make no moves, they make no changes. But of course, Masai Ujiri likes to have that flexibility, likes to be able to make those different moves happen. So that's been my firm stance on that for the past, since the trade deadline. Don't trade RJ Barrett unless you're going to get a really, really impressive player back. But that's kind of the reality of what we're dealing with for this Raptors team here right now. And basically, the last thing, which, I kind of glossed over it too, but the 9th pick. The Raptors are trying to deal away that 9th pick. If we are going to be trading a top 10 selection, it has to be a very, very high caliber player. It can't be RJ in top 10, and then you just get Malik Monk. It can't be RJ top 10, and then you just get a Shead. You really want a dramatic upgrade if you are making a trade of the 9th pick in this year's NBA draft and RJ Barrett, whatever pieces that have to get amalgamated and make a move happen. I know the Kings are a realistic spot because, they do have some interesting players on the roster. DeMar DeRozan's been linked to us too, which I don't think is a positional fit either. Same ways about Malik Monk. Keegan Murray's been a long-time guy the Raptors have been interested in. He had an extremely down season this year. So, maybe Monk and Keegan Murray, and then you get some other type of draft asset from the Sacramento Kings, and then you deal up that 9. Masai Ujiri can get crafty with the chess moves that he's making with these deals, but the reason the Kings are a team that's brought up significantly in terms of a trade partner with the Toronto Raptors is because Scott Perry has that previous relationship with the 2 former New York Knicks out here on this roster, and RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley. Specifically, Immanuel Quickley, who's a guy that is on a contract that is pretty sizable here right now, but he's locked in for a very, very long time. He'd be the guy to be anointed the franchise point guard for the Sacramento Kings, which has been a primary concern for that team entering the offseason. So IQ be able to come out there. He was drafted by Scott Perry. He has that relationship. The former Knicks GM, if you're not familiar, is now the GM of the Sacramento Kings, just newly anointed. So it's where some of these backroom rumblings are going on with the, Knicks, the former Knicks guys going to Sacramento, making these moves happen. Personally, I'm not that sold on a lot of the guys in Sacramento coming back. Keegan Murray, I think, would be an interesting piece. A buy low prospect in our system could be interesting. I've seen some people tag JV on there to be a backup center for this team. It'd be fun to have JV on this roster as a backup center, but defensively, there would be some concerns there. Keon Ellis is, of course, a very valuable 3-and-D player out there in the NBA. So there are some guys. There are some guys in that Kings team. The Raptors, got a good deal off of the Sacramento Kings last season, so we'll see how things shake out. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. What do you want to see the Toronto Raptors do with the number 9 pick, as well as RJ Barrett? Anyways, check us out on Spotify. Definitely do that. Pointed down low. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.